then I'll try to get a hold of Shanta.
I checked that.
I did. It didn't work. So next up, it's my honor to introduce the very distinguished poet, author.
Are you distinguished?
Oh, and we're here for 100,000 poets and musicians for change, a global event happening simultaneously in over 100 countries all over the world. People are reading their poetry and performing their music. This has been recognized by Stanford University as a historic event.
Awesome.
So it is my honor, like I said before, to introduce esteemed author Laurie Desrosiers, who's had work in Meat for Tea and has a book, which if you don't own, you should. It's called The Philosopher's Daughter.
Thank you. Woo, Laurie!
Now that's what I call a cheering section. All right. I would have started with a song, but my throat's bothering me, so I'm just going to jump right into the poetry.
Jump right in.
Happy Allergy Week. Oh, man.
Hey, ragweed.
Terry? I did.
So this is my book. It's called The Philosopher's Daughter. My dad was actually a professor of philosophy at Fordham, and he was also a practicing psychoanalyst, psychiatrist, which was an interesting way to grow up. My dad used to ask me really heavy questions, like when I was 3, you know, like, what do you think is the essence of being, honey? Conducting in thin air. When someone on high waves his or her baton, is that? Is your symphony over? Your song sung? Are you done? Fini, kaput? Even if by some trick of karma you missed the flight that crashed? Or is it just a strange coincidence? These folks who bumbled through their lives, forgetting where they put their keys, dropping pens, spending too much time with friends, lingering too long in conversation, enjoying the music a bit too much. Like my father used to when he drove, conducting Beethoven in thin air. My mother shouting, "Len, please keep your hands on the wheel." This seems like a good place for some nature poems, so I can throw a couple of those in. Hello, little bee. Keep going. Nothing to see here. Thank you. Thinking rock. Small girl steps on moss, wades through wild hyssop. In the woods she is safe from imaginary monsters. Into green glen to the thinking rock, an alluvial formation, flat-topped. She climbs to the top, sits, thinks until she is tired of thinking. In summer, warmed by sun, in winter, a monument to frigidity, still a place to trudge to, leave tracks, leading to the jangle of bells on doorknob, calling her back to the house. When her grandfather is there, she watches him smoke his cigar, have a whiskey with her father. Smoke rings rise like gray ropes. I grew up in Westchester County on the banks of the Hudson, and there's a Hastings on Hudson for John. It's my brother. Waves lap the riverbank beneath heaven and earth in stone by Lipschitz. We walk the narrow shoreline beside soot-blackened tracks of Metro North commuter rails. At sunset, bats darken sand to black. We pick up the pace, though these flying mice hunger for mosquitoes, not children. Our sneakers leave indents beneath the canopy of willow trees. How many people played a musical instrument when you were growing? Oh, fantastic. All right. This is about my orchestra teacher in high school. And I was in the same orchestra from 7th through 12th grade, and I played violin. And Just for those who don't know, in a high school orchestra, I don't know if this happens everywhere, but in our orchestra, you had to work your way up. The worst players were in the back of the second violin section, and the best were in the front of the first violin section. I worked my way up from 7th to 12th grade, from the last seat in the second violin section to the second seat in the first violin section, and that was truly only because everyone better than me graduated that year. So, let me just read this. In 7th grade, Mr. Hayden would throw his baton at anyone who played a wrong note. Small hands trembled, eyes squinted, trying to decipher Stravinsky. Little pencil notations, finger numbers over treble clefs. Orchestra practice began 7:50 sharp. Leaving bikes outside, we shuffled in, black cases swinging, tabs slung open, rosin swiped back and forth over horsehair bows, tightened just enough to sing. It was easy to fake bow. Follow the notations gliding above the string. No one could hear our silent symphony. Melody carried by first chairs. High school girls, braces off, dyed blonde hair, full breasts heaving below chin rests, red nails on bows. Practicing the Firebird suite in my room at home, fingers high on the E string, 5th position, made my mother ask, "Do you have to do that when we're here?" My violin sits in the closet now, bridge broken, rosin in crumbled fragments, but the case still smells like early mornings. Holding it, I feel the bruise under my chin. All right, I have time for 2 more, I think.
Oh, at least.
At least?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Go, go, go.
Whoa! Okay, hold on. My fault, shouldn't have left stuff in there. All right. Okay, so 3 or 4 more, then we'll be done. Okay, I guess I'll read this one. This is the only form poem in the book, and I'm reading it because I'm excited. There's a book out, it just came out this week, called the Bloomsbury Anthology of Contemporary Jewish American Poetry, and I'm in it, and this is the poem that is in it. It's very exciting. This is about my grandmother, and there's a little prelude I'd like to say when I read it. My grandmother had 2 secrets. One was that she was considerably older than my grandfather than he thought she was, which is a terrible sentence, but that sort of explains it, doesn't it? He thought she was maybe 5 years older than him. It turns out she was at least 10 years older than he was. And she didn't tell anybody this until the last year of her life. She told my mother. It's kind of funny. The other secret was that back in the old country in Russia, before she came here in 1912, she had been married. And there was a scandal, and she and her mother had to leave the little town they lived in, near Kiev. And we don't really know exactly how, what happened. Or I assume there was an annulment or something. But it's interesting, so... Anyway, that was the other big secret my grandmother was carrying around with her. She was a very interesting lady, quite a character. This is a pantoum. It's an old Persian form. Grandmother's hands. Grandmother's hands, veined, soft. Petticoats she sewed, floated, white, on clothesline blowing far aloft, gathered on her arm for the night. Petticoats she sewed, floated, white, by Ukraine's river long ago, gathered on her arm for the night, a man her family would not know. By Ukraine's river long ago, long brown curls, green eyes glowing, a man her family would not know, gathered her up, skirts blowing. Long brown curls, green eyes glowing, grasped the ship's rail as winds gust, gathered her up, skirts blowing, sad to leave, but knew she must. Children's laundry gently tossed on clothesline, blowing far aloft. Gathered clothespins, none were lost. Grandmother's hands, veined, soft. got a couple. Okay, this one is from the book here, and it's also, some of you have probably heard this, but I like reading it anyway. It's basically my first marriage in a nutshell. It starts with an epigraph that says, "Two brides arise from the river, shivering and shining like pomegranate seeds." And those are words from an Armenian song. And the name of the poem is That Pomegranate Shine. I was the wrong kind of bride, more sweat than glisten, more peach than pomegranate. At 23, in love with marriage, not the man, I plunged into rough water, bringing grandmother's candlesticks, mother's books, and 2 silver trays. 10 years later, I emerged, shivering, dragging my ragged volumes, 1 candlestick, and 2 babies. On the bank, I shook off the water and breathed. Looking out over the river, the new brides asked me where I got that pomegranate shine. Yeah, so I'm going to read you another really short poem that's about my second marriage. This is my 3rd marriage. We're doing really well. I've been together with him for 15 years, and I'm planning on another 15. Yay! Can't plan forever, you just plan it as it goes. 15 at a time, perfectly fine. This is called Wedding. Marvelous planner you were. Perfectly styled hair, lace gown, antique rings, 2 little girls to hold your train. His hair, his suit, his smile, just right. His children gave out flowers. Everyone is smiling in the pictures. If you could just go back and tell yourself to run. All right, I want to read a couple of new pieces just for fun that aren't in the book. Ooh, new book. All right. Why I have all this crap here. There's a lot of stuff. Brought everything in the whole world up here. Don't need it all. All right. I read this one, and then I'm going to read one more after that, and that's it. 2 poem warning. Just want to find the poem, because I know it's here. Where is it? Uh-oh. Maybe it isn't here. That's not it either. Sorry, just checking. Obviously, I prepared for this very long time and really well. Shoot. All right, well, I'll read you something after this. This is new. It's called Right Word Inventory. You ever try to find the right word and you can't? Yeah. Well, this happens to me a lot, especially in social situations. When I have to talk off the top of my head, oh my goodness, it's terrifying sometimes. So here's Right Word Inventory. And there's a couple of voices in it, you can tell. Rummaging through the bag. Here they are. The right words. You need the right words. Let me look. Hurry up. You need to know now. Okay, hold on a second, damn it. Wait, that's not right. Rummage, rummage. Here it is. I'll be right with you. Thank you for your patience. Good. Now for the rest of the inventory. There's so many little bags and boxes in here. How do I know which of the ones are the right ones? You'll know when you open them. Okay. Here's a little bag with sequins labeled parties. So nice to see you again. Thank you. I had a lovely time. What if I had a terrible time? I know, don't say it. Here's a blue box. It's labeled police officers. Of course, officer. Here is my license and registration. Yes, sir. No, sir. I haven't been drinking. Only had 2 beers. Can't I just say it wasn't me? Is that in the box? If it's not in the box, wrong words. This is hard. I feel like I'm lying. Look deeper. Reach way down in there. Okay. Shoot, this one says funerals. It's a little purse with a clasp. I'm so sorry for your loss. We'll always have great memories. He, she was a wonderful person. I'm so glad to have known him or her. What if the person was a jerk? Oh, that's not here at all. Find mother. Do I have to? Okay, here it is. Looks like a little photo album. There she is. Each page has a picture of a different situation. This could be useful. Thank you. You're wonderful, beautiful, brilliant, so smart. Wow, I never thought of that. Mom, I really need some advice about. There's a note at the bottom of each page. Listen, learn, love her. The last page. What is it? Why are you crying? It's a picture of Mom and me when I was little. Thank you for everything you've done for me, Mom. Then it says, see funerals. I had a particular poem I wanted to do because, here it is. I knew it was here. Because it's 100,000 Poets for Change Day. If you didn't know, that's why we're here. This is a specific poem that is, it's sort of a political piece. Okay, I don't write too many political poems, once in a blue moon. And it doesn't sound like one in the beginning, so don't expect it. Pressure cooker. Remember sitting in your grandmother's kitchen, listening to the pup of the pressure cooker, boiling rice or stew, steam rising from a hole in the lid, the smell so sweet, no call out the window needed to bring children running up the stairs. Wash your hands, change your shirt, eat. The song of supper, families at the table, cooker lids unscrewed, heaping rice, millet, or semolina, generously spooned. We have eaten, talked, and laughed, traded stories over meat and grain. Now the grandmother looks in vain for her pressure cooker. Someone stole it, loaded it with gunpowder, nails, an igniter, put it in a bag by the roadside. Thank you.
Say a little something so people know what's next. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Should have told you to bring extra copy.
I do have extra. Do you want me to get them? I didn't bring them down here, but I have them.
I have good news. Lori has copies of her book, The Philosopher's Daughter, with her if anyone's interested in purchasing one. I also have copies of Meat for Tea, the latest The Bone issue, which is 92 pages big. Coming up next, as soon as she gets here, is Shanta Paloma. She is on her way. I've had it confirmed. She just got a little bit lost trying to find the place. But that's what's on the docket next, so sit tight.